For 65 years, a horrifying mystery haunted America. In February 1957, the battered body of a 4-year-old boy was found stuffed inside a cardboard box on a desolate roadside in Philadelphia. His skull was crushed, his tiny body showed signs of severe neglect and brutal abuse, and he was naked and abandoned in the freezing cold. No one knew his name. No one claimed him. He became known only as the boy in the box, America's unknown child. Despite one of the largest investigations in Philadelphia history, his identity remained a secret for decades, until a revolutionary scientific breakthrough finally gave him back his name and brought us closer to the truth behind his tragic death. For 65 years, America searched for the name of a murdered child. But an even more disturbing question haunted investigators. How does a 4-year-old boy live, suffer, and die without anyone ever reporting him missing? Philadelphia in 1957 was a city of nearly 2 million people, a place proud of its role in American history and known as the birthplace of the nation. Families filled its row-house neighborhoods, children played on crowded city streets, and life seemed to move forward with post-war optimism. From the 25th of February 1957, in a remote dumping ground on the outskirts of Philadelphia, 26-year-old college student Frederick Bononis noticed an old cardboard box hidden among the brush. At first, it looked like nothing more than discarded trash, but when he looked inside, he made a discovery so disturbing that it would become one of the most infamous unsolved child murder cases in American history. Wrapped in a worn flannel blanket was the naked body of a small boy. The harsh winter cold had helped preserve the remains, but what it revealed would haunt Philadelphia for decades to come. Before we continue, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to know how far Joseph's story has reached around the world. When Frederick Bononis finally contacted the police on the 25th of February 1957, detectives rushed to the isolated stretch of Susquehanna Road in Philadelphia's Fox Chase neighborhood. What they found was deeply disturbing. Inside a discarded cardboard box lay the lifeless body of a small boy, wrapped only in a faded flannel blanket. He appeared to be between 4 and 6 years old, yet weighed a mere 30 pounds, severely malnourished with thin arms and legs that showed stunted growth. The autopsy, performed by Philadelphia's chief medical examiner, Dr. Joseph Spellman, revealed a horrifying picture of prolonged suffering and violence. The boy had striking blue eyes and dark blonde to light brown hair that had been crudely cut very short, with clumps still clinging to his skin and the blanket. His entire body was covered in fresh bruises and abrasions, but the most devastating injuries were to his head. Multiple fractures showed that his skull had been crushed by repeated blunt force trauma, the official cause of death. Equally shocking were the signs of previous abuse and medical history. An L-shaped scar marked his chin, while healed surgical scars were found in the groin area and on his left ankle, suggesting he had undergone operations earlier in life. His fingernails and toenails were neatly trimmed, and his body had been thoroughly washed before being placed in the box. Most notably, the palms of his right hand and the soles of his feet showed wrinkling consistent with having been submerged in water shortly before or after death. Despite the brutal beating, the boy's remains showed no signs of sexual assault. The extreme cold of that winter had preserved the body, making it difficult to determine exactly how long he had been deceased. Estimates ranged from 3 days to 2 weeks. Investigators concluded he had not been killed at the dumping site, but was placed there to conceal the crime. The cardboard box itself offered the first tangible clue. It was originally used to ship a J.C. Penney bassinet. A blue Ivy League-style corduroy cap, a child's scarf, and a handkerchief with the initial G were also found nearby, though none led to immediate answers. The blanket wrapped around the boy was a common mass-produced type sold in both Canada and North Carolina. Dr. Spellman's final ruling was clear and heartbreaking. Homicide. This was no accident. A defenseless child had been systematically abused, beaten to death, cleaned up, and discarded like unwanted trash on the side of a remote road. The stage was now set for what would become one of Philadelphia's longest and most frustrating investigations. If you appreciate respectful, in-depth true crime investigations that give forgotten victims a voice, consider subscribing as we continue uncovering some of history's most haunting cold cases. In the days and weeks following the grim discovery, Philadelphia police launched one of the most extensive investigations the city had ever seen. Over 300 officers and police academy recruits were mobilized, fanning out across neighborhoods, knocking on doors, and interviewing hundreds of residents. The boy's description was broadcast repeatedly over radio networks, and authorities distributed more than 400,000 flyers and posters featuring his image to police stations, post offices, and courthouses nationwide. Even gas bills in the Philadelphia area included the posters in an unprecedented public appeal. Hoping to spark recognition, investigators took the extraordinary step of dressing the boy's body in fresh clothing and photographing him seated upright in a chair, as if he were still alive. Forensic artists also created composite images, showing how he might have looked in life. These photos and sketches were circulated widely in newspapers and on television, yet despite the overwhelming public attention, no one came forward to claim him. The physical evidence recovered from the scene offered promising but ultimately frustrating leads. The cardboard box that held the boy was traced through its serial number to a J.C. Penney store in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, about 15 miles away. It had originally contained a bassinet, and records showed only 12 units of that specific model had been sold. All purchases were made in cash, leaving no names or addresses. When the story broke, several buyers contacted police to confirm they still had their boxes or had discarded them, but 4 remained unaccounted for. Nearby, investigators found a blue Ivy League corduroy cap, a child's scarf, and a handkerchief embroidered with the letter G. The cap, size 7/1/8, was traced to a small manufacturer in South Philadelphia. The owner recalled customizing it with a leather strap for a blond man in his late 20s, but she never saw him again. The blanket wrapped around the boy was mass-produced and widely available in both Canada and North Carolina, offering no unique tracing value. Despite this massive effort, the largest missing child investigation in the city's history at the time, every lead seemed to evaporate. No hospitals had records matching the boy's footprints, fingerprints, or surgical scars. It was as if he had never officially existed. The case quickly turned cold, but the determination to find answers only grew stronger among those who refused to let the unknown child remain forgotten. As the investigation intensified, detectives were flooded with tips from across the country. Most led nowhere, but a handful seemed so compelling that investigators spent years trying to determine whether they had finally found the boy's identity. One of the first mysteries involved the discovery itself. Frederick Benoni's, the college student who reported finding the body, later admitted he had actually seen the cardboard box 2 days earlier while wandering through the area. Fearing embarrassment and possible legal trouble, he remained silent. Another young man, 18-year-old John Peraznik, also confessed that he had spotted the box before police were notified but chose not to report it because he was illegally checking muskrat traps nearby. Although both men were eventually cleared, their delayed reports complicated efforts to establish a precise timeline of the boy's death. Then came a far more unsettling lead. A passing motorist told investigators that 2 days before the body was officially discovered, he had seen a middle-aged woman and a teenage boy unloading a large object from the trunk of a car near the very location where the child would later be found. When he stopped and offered assistance, the pair appeared nervous and quickly tried to conceal the vehicle's license plate. Detectives considered the sighting highly suspicious, particularly after women's and children's clothing were found discarded nearby. Yet despite extensive efforts, neither the woman nor the teenager was ever identified. Another theory focused on a missing child named Stephen Craig Damon. Stephen had vanished from Long Island in 1955, and similarities between his appearance and the unknown boy immediately caught investigators' attention. For a time, some believed the mystery might already be solved. However, closer examination revealed significant differences. Stephen's documented medical history included kidney problems and a previously broken arm conditions that did not match the autopsy findings. Decades later, DNA testing conclusively eliminated the possibility. As hundreds of additional tips poured in, investigators chased one lead after another, only to watch each promising trail collapse. The deeper they dug, the more frustrating the mystery became. It was as if the little boy had appeared out of nowhere, lived entirely outside official records, and vanished from the world without anyone noticing he was gone. That haunting possibility would continue to torment investigators for decades. Among all those touched by the case, no one became more personally invested than Remington Bristow, a dedicated employee at the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office. For 36 years, Bristow poured his life into solving the mystery. He contributed to the boys' burial fund, regularly tended to the grave at Potter's Field, and even carried a plaster mask of the child's face in his briefcase as a constant reminder. Using his own savings, he traveled across multiple states, chasing leads and consulting experts. Bristow's most significant contribution came through an unconventional approach. After contacting a New Jersey psychic, he brought her to the crime scene. She described a nearby house in striking detail. Following her guidance, Bristow located a foster home run by Arthur Nicoletti, located just 1.5 miles from where the box was found. During an estate sale at the property in 1961, Bristow discovered a bassinet that closely matched the one from the J.C. Penney box, along with similar blankets hanging on the clothesline. He developed a detailed theory. The boy was likely the illegitimate son of Nicoletti's stepdaughter, Anna Marie. Bristow believed the child may have died in a tragic accident at the home. Fearing shame and social judgment, in an era when unwed mothers faced harsh stigma, the family allegedly covered up the death and disposed of the body. The boy's washed body, trimmed nails, and pruned skin suggested he had been cared for right before death, supporting the idea of an accidental tragedy followed by a desperate cover-up. Bristow's relentless private investigation kept the case alive when official efforts had stalled. Though he lacked the authority to conduct formal searches, his determination brought renewed attention to the Foster family. After Bristow passed away in 1993 without answers, his work was carried forward by homicide detective Tom Augustine in 1998. Augustine directly interviewed Arthur Nicoletti and Anna Marie, who by then had married her former stepfather. Anna Marie admitted she had a son, but stated he died years earlier in a freak accident, electrocuted while riding a coin-operated children's horse outside a store. Medical records reportedly supported her claim. With no concrete evidence linking the family to the boy in the box, this once promising theory was officially set aside. As years turned into decades, two particularly disturbing theories emerged that offered more specific explanations for the boy's identity and death. The first involved a man who approached investigators claiming that one of his family's tenants had once sold his own son. In 2013, writer Jim Hoffman and another Philadelphia man brought this lead to the Vidocq Society and Philadelphia police. They presented photographs showing striking facial similarities between the tenant, his son, and the unknown boy, particularly in the structure of the ears, nose, and overall appearance. With assistance from author Lou Romano, the team located a potential relative in Memphis, Tennessee, and obtained DNA samples. In 2017, authorities tested the DNA against the boy's genetic profile. Unfortunately, the results came back negative, ruling out a direct match. While the theory generated renewed interest and highlighted how easily children could disappear from official records in the 1950s, it ultimately joined the growing list of dead ends. Far more detailed and chilling was the account provided by a woman known only as Martha, or M. In February 2002, Martha contacted police after years of internal struggle. She claimed that in the summer of 1954, when she was just a teenager, her abusive and short-tempered mother purchased a small boy named Jonathan from an unknown source and kept him hidden in the basement of their home. According to Martha, her mother subjected both her and the boy to severe physical and sexual abuse. On a cold night in February 1957, Jonathan vomited after eating baked beans. Enraged, the mother beat him mercilessly, slamming his head against the floor until he lost consciousness. She then attempted to revive him by placing him in a bath, but the boy died from his injuries. Martha was forced to help her mother transport the body to the Fox Chase area. She vividly recalled a passing motorist stopping to offer assistance while they were removing the body from the trunk, a detail that precisely matched the earlier witness statement from 1957. Investigators, including original detectives who had worked the case, found Martha's story remarkably consistent with the autopsy findings. The presence of baked beans in the boy's stomach, the blunt force trauma to the head, the pruned skin on his hands and feet from the bath, and the crude haircut intended to conceal his identity. Despite these strong correlations and the interviewer's initial belief in her sincerity, Neighbors insisted no young boy had lived at the residence during that period. Without corroborating physical evidence, police ultimately set the lead aside. These two theories represented some of the most intimate and horrifying possibilities: a child bought, abused, and discarded, yet both failed to deliver the definitive proof needed to close the case. Even as promising leads faded, the commitment to identifying the boy never wavered. On the 24th of July, 1957, several detectives personally funded a small white coffin and quietly buried him at Potter's Field Cemetery, a resting place typically reserved for the unidentified and unclaimed. The simple tombstone read, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." For years afterward, local residents and investigators maintained the grave with flowers and care. In 1959, Dr. Spellman collaborated with Philadelphia General Hospital to search for medical records matching the boy's surgical scars and malnutrition, but none were found. The case continued to attract dedicated individuals who refused to let it die. In the late 1990s, homicide detective Tom Augustine revived interest by partnering with the Vidocq Society, an elite group of forensic experts, retired detectives, and professionals dedicated to solving cold cases. The society held formal meetings, invited media coverage, and even brought the case to America's Most Wanted. Renowned forensic artist Frank Bender created a new facial reconstruction and later proposed the controversial idea that the boy may have been raised as a girl, citing the neatly groomed nails, plucked eyebrows, and cut hair. This theory, though intriguing, produced no breakthroughs. In November 1998, the boy's body was exhumed for the first time to extract mitochondrial DNA from a tooth. The samples helped eliminate several potential relatives. Following the exhumation, he was reburied at Ivy Hill Cemetery on the 11th of November, 1998. A generous local funeral director donated a new casket and granite headstone that simply read, "America's Unknown Child." These decades of persistent work from private citizens and law enforcement alike kept the case in the public consciousness. Thousands of tips were investigated, countless hours were spent reviewing old files, and new forensic techniques were applied whenever they became available. Every failed attempt only strengthened the resolve of those involved. Little did they know that the most significant advancement in the case would come not from traditional detective work, but from a revolutionary scientific breakthrough that was still years away. For more than 6 decades, traditional detective work had reached its limits. Then, in 2019, a quiet revolution in forensic science brought new hope. Investigators decided to exhume the boy's remains once again, this time to extract the best possible DNA samples using modern technology. The Philadelphia Police Department partnered with a specialized team of genetic genealogists from Identifinders International, the same experts who had helped solve other long cold cases. Genetic genealogy works differently from regular DNA testing. Instead of only comparing samples to known criminal databases, it uploads the unknown person's DNA profile to public genealogy websites where millions of people have voluntarily submitted their own DNA for family history research. By building family trees and tracing shared genetic markers, investigators can identify distant relatives and work their way closer to the person's identity. This process was painstaking. It took 2.5 years of careful analysis because the DNA from the 1950s remains was degraded and limited. But in late 2022, the breakthrough finally came. The genetic profile matched with a first cousin on the boy's maternal side. From there, investigators were able to identify his biological mother and, through further verification, his father as well. On the 8th of December 2022, Philadelphia police held a historic press conference. They announced that America's unknown child now had a name, Joseph Augustus Zarelli. He was born on the 13th of January 1953, making him just over 4 years old at the time of his death in February 1957. His father was Augustus John Zarelli, and his mother was Mary Elizabeth Plunkett, also known by her maiden name Abel. Both parents had since passed away, his mother in 1991 and his father in 2014. The announcement brought a wave of emotion. For the first time in 65 years, the boy was no longer nameless. Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw spoke powerfully at the press conference, saying, "Despite the fact that Joseph Augustus Zarelli's entire identity and rightful claim to his own existence was taken away, he has never been forgotten. Authorities chose not to publicly name the parents out of respect for living family members. Joseph had siblings on both his mother's and father's sides who are still alive today. The family has been notified and asked for privacy as the investigation continues. Importantly, the case is still an active homicide investigation. Captain Jason Smith of the Philadelphia Homicide Unit stated that detectives have developed specific suspicions about who may have been responsible for Joseph's death, but they have not yet made any arrests. They hope the public identification will generate new tips from people who remember the Zarelli or Plunkett families in the 1950s. Joseph's headstone at Ivy Hill Cemetery was updated to reflect his real name. After more than half a century of silence, this small boy finally received the dignity of being known. While his identity has been restored, the question of exactly who killed him and why remains unanswered, a painful reminder that justice for Joseph is not yet complete. After 65 long years of silence, Joseph Augustus Zarelli is no longer America's unknown child. Thanks to the relentless dedication of generations of detectives, the unwavering passion of individuals like Remington Bristow, and the groundbreaking power of modern genetic genealogy, a small boy who was discarded and forgotten finally has his name and his story restored. This case stands as a powerful testament to the importance of never giving up. It shows us what tireless human effort can achieve when combined with the incredible advancements in science and technology. What traditional police work could not solve in 6 decades, DNA and genetic genealogy accomplished in just a few years. It reminds us that every life matters, no matter how small, how overlooked, or how long ago it was taken. We grieve for Joseph, a 4-year-old boy who endured unimaginable suffering and was denied the love and protection every child deserves. His story is heartbreaking, yet it also carries hope. That truth can still emerge even after decades of darkness, and that justice, though delayed, may still come. What do you think happened to Joseph? Was his death the result of a tragic accident covered up by fear? Or was there something far more sinister? Do you believe his family knew and chose to stay silent? And most importantly, does knowing his name bring closure? Or does it make the search for his killer even more urgent? If this story touched you, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps keep these cold cases alive and brings attention to other forgotten victims. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate deep, respectful true crime storytelling, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We have many more important cases to explore together. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and remember, no one should ever be forgotten.